folks, Dan Shizzle here. What I'm going to be taking a look at today is this, which is the Fatty version 3 from Fasttech. I purchased this for around a tenner, which is £10, which is $14 odd. Now, I heard a lot of talk about this atomizer as soon as it came out, and the word on the street was, don't buy it because it's crap. I totally ignored that and I went and bought it, mainly because I'm a dripper. If I see a 22mm dripper that I like the look of, I will buy it more than likely. That is just because all of my mods pretty much are 22mm, so if I can have a dripper on every mod, I can, basically. So as soon as I saw this and I saw it was 22mm, I saw it had adjustable airflow, I saw the deck. The deck was what interested me the most, but we'll get down to that in the close-ups. That was the thing that sort of swayed me the most, because it was something different. It wasn't just the normal dripper deck, if you get what I mean. It was something a little different. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get down into the close-upsies. I'm not going to rebuild it because the microcoil that is in it at the moment is kicking, but I will replace the cotton so you can see the exact setup I'm using. In here I think it's a 8 wrap 35mm 0.35mm Cantfol microcoil. I'm going to leave that in place and I'm just going to replace the cotton. So, but you know, a microcoil, how many microcoils have you seen done? But the cotton setup can be fiddly. You need to get it positioned just right so that you're not blocking airflow, but we'll get into that anyway. Right, I'll see you in the close-ups. Right, I know I said I wasn't going to rebuild it, but I sort of looked at it and I noticed that it needed a bit of a clean anyway, so I thought I'd tear it down, show you all the little bits and pieces. Right, so this is our base section here. You'll see in the bottom that there's a longer screw out of these two here. The longer screw will go all the way into the base, and that will be your, oh, let's get on camera, that will be your negative connection. So that one is it's best to look as you're doing this, because once you get it all back together you need to remember where it needs to go. So right, so that's that. Then we have an insulator just there, which you can't really see too well on the black background, but it's there. There you go, insulator. We have an airflow control ring with it's just the one hole. This isn't a cloud chasing atomizer by any means. Yeah, and we have our top cap right there. I have just given this a clean. It did look a lot worse than this. About 2 minutes ago it looked a lot worse than this, but all I do is I just wipe it down with some tissue paper and just get all the old juice off. Right, so what we want to do first is we want to line up this insulator. So right there, we've lined up our insulator. Underneath your insulator you'll notice a groove. Don't know if you can see the groove. That will pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, be your airflow. So this groove here becomes airflow, which will then feed your pepper shaker styled top cap. So right, so we've got that in place. Hold it like this. Then we put our airflow control ring, we put that on the bottom of the top cap. So here's our top cap. We've got a hole in the top cap, so we'll line that up there, like so, and you'll see we've got a hole and an airflow control ring. We put these back together, lining up the hole with the groove, like that. Then we need to line up the negative terminal with the long screw. So here's our long screw, so we need to go straight through See, I've done that wrong. There we are. So hold that there. Hold that over that. Long screw. I'm trying to do this on camera, so our long screw's in, so just need to screw it down a little, just to lock it into place, like so. Now our positive screw is insulated, so we're fine there as well, so we can just screw that straight in. There we are. And our fatty is reassembled. Now those screws here also then become your positive and negative for your atomizer connection. So sorry, I had to shoo away a chihuahua. They also become your positive and negative posts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a basic microcoil. I'm going for, I got given a it's like a manicure kit, and it's from Thailand. So, but this is equivalent to what, a 2mm drill bit. So we're just going to take, now you need to leave, as you're doing these microcoils on the fatty version, let me just lift this camera up ever so slightly. You need to leave quite long legs because these two screws sit quite far away. So we just want to, I'm going to go for an 8 wrap micro. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like so. That's an 8 wrap microcoil on there now. So all I'm going to do is pull it off. Then we're going to take our fatty and just undo one post ever so slightly, just enough to fit a piece of wire in between the washer, which is here, this washer here, and this screw. So right, our microcoil is in place. I thought I'd just cut it there because it was being a bit of a pain. Right, so our microcoil is in place, so we're now going to snip leads. Now the trick with the fatty is, you see the pepper shaker underneath that coil, right? You want this coil touching as much of those air holes as you possibly can. Now I don't mean touching, I mean sitting above. So I'm going to position mine there, just like that. That is right smack bang in the center of all of those holes, so I should be getting airflow all around my coil easily. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this on a mod. Like so. I'm just going to fire it a little. It's not too bad. So we're just going to tweeze them together. Until we get a nice even inside out glow. Pretty much like that. See, inside out, that's perfect, that's spot on. So one more last squeeze. Then we have a good microcoil. That microcoil is good. So now I need to find a piece of cotton. Give me 1 second. Right, piece of cotton. Just natural organic cotton. We need a little tiny piece. and I'm talking literally, that's probably too much, but it gives me some good anchorage to work with. So all I'm doing is I've made a pointy end. You have to give the noise in the background because my dogs, they're like nocturnal foxes. Right, so all you can see is I've just pulled the cotton through. I'm just going to pull it through. I'm going to keep pulling it through, twisting and pulling all at once. Now I always like to have my cotton, see if I can get this on the actual video camera. There. I like to have my cotton so it can be loose. Not too loose, not too tight. So just freely moving, because remember, cotton will expand. So just freely moving, just right through like that. Then we're going to take a pair of snippers. I'm going to snip this up here. It would have been so much easier if I'd bought scissors. Right, so we're going to snip this up here. If I can actually get some fucking, oh, do you know what? I've just basically pulled the ends off, but that has worked excellently. Right, so we're left with something that looks a bit like that. Now that is still a bit too much, if I'm honest. So what I'm going to do is just get our clippers. Right, here's our cotton. We don't want that much, so that right there is the perfect amount of cotton. I've got a bit of editing to do in this video now. Never mind. We live and we learn. That's the perfect amount of cotton. There. Just like that. Now as soon as that gets wet, it will pick up all of the juice off of the deck, but at the same time it will not affect our air holes whatsoever. That's exactly how we want it. All I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking some of Colonel Boom's Heart Shot, and I'm going to be dabbing these coils. So, well, these wicks, sorry, not these coils. Just dabbing them, making sure they're nice and wet. And then what you can do with the fatty is to make sure that it's nice and saturated. You can actually just dip a bit onto the deck around those wicks, and right there we are spot on. Test fire. There we are. Wow, sweet. Right, then we're going to fit our top cap back. Threading on this top cap is nice and smooth, I've got to say. And then we can adjust our airflow control ring. Now this can be a bit tight. If you've tightened those screws down the way I just did, it is pretty easily adjustable with a fingernail, as you can see up here. My fingernails around the back. That was just adjusted with a fingernail, so it is adjustable on the move. Right, so we're going to come back up to me and we're talking about see you in a second. Right, so our Fatty V3 is built. Hopefully there wasn't too many jump cuts and too many edits in that close up, because it was being a pain in the arse. That is one thing about the Fatty V3, is that whole two post being so far apart, chihuahuas again, those two posts being so far apart, it can make the whole coiling situation a bit tricky. But I've been treating it similar to the way a K-fun is, where you do a leg going one way and a leg going the other way. So you've got a coil sitting in between two leads that are going either way, so that you've got your coil sitting directly in the middle straight away. Yeah, apart from that, I'm just going to go back up a bit. There we go. Apart from that, it works well. It's not a cloud chasing atomizer by any means. If you're expecting to be blowing massive clouds out of this, at least for builds I've tried, all single core builds will not do that. Does that mean it's a slouch in vapor production? No. It will still produce a really thick, dense vapor, but it won't. Bloody dogs! It just won't be as thick as you might expect from a proper cloud chasing atomizer, such as a Trident or something like that. For me, this is the perfect mouth to lung atomizer. It's not too airy. It's not too tight. It holds a fair amount, a few drops on that top deck. You just got to ignore. It won't hold 20 or 30 drops. I don't see it at all. Maybe if you was to stuff the bottom with cotton, possibly. But even then, no, it wouldn't work. I can't see how that's going to be effective, if you get what I mean. But it's a good atomizer. It's a perfect 22mm. The airflow control ring is 23mm. You can just see the slightest little tiny difference in that. But yeah, the Fatty Fatty from Fasttech, can I recommend it? Yes, I can. You treat it as any other dripper. You forget this whole holding 30 drops thing. You get used to adjusting your airflow with a fingernail, or once there's that been juice on the atomizer, it gets a hell of a lot easier. Once it's been uncleaned, because I cleaned it all just as I rebuilt it, so once you've got a little tiny bit of juice just even in the atomizer, it makes it a whole lot easier. You get a good throat hit. You get, see, this to me is what this atomizer is about. This atomizer is flavour. This is if you're one of the people who would favour a flavoursome vape over a cloudsome vape, if that's a word, then this atomizer is for you, because the flavour out of this is just astonishing. I've not got any other dripping atomizers that will come close, except for my AGI. My AGI is good for flavour as well, but this would probably beat that by quite a bit. So to round up, we're not talking cloud chasing, but we are going to get some cloud, just not as much as we would in a dedicated cloud chasing atomizer. Bloody dogs, stop it! Right, flavour. We're going to get excellent flavour. This is what this atomizer is about. This atomizer is a flavour hound. And we're going to get a decent throat hit, but throat hit is very dependent on the juice you're using. If you're using a zero nick, you're going to be lacking something. So, right, I think I've rambled on enough. I've been down for shizzle. This has been the Fatty Fatty from Fasttech, which retails for about £10, which is $14 to $15. In my eyes, bargain. Go and get one, especially if you like good flavoursome liquids. I've been down for shizzle. I'll see you in the next one.